Welcome dear students. In this class we will see the construction of a flight simulation model, because so far we have estimated weight. Before that we have covered the basics of aerodynamics, structures, propulsion and flight mechanics and control, and also we have covered the history also, and performance, stability, all the things is now covered. Now it's time to build a flight simulation model, and we should know whether our designed aircraft is behaving well or not. Okay, so now you can see I will consider two examples. I have designed two aircraft. One is unmanned aircraft which weight class is 10 kg, and other one is a manned aircraft which you know that the weight is 1238 kg. Okay, 1238 kg. So now this is a unmanned aircraft. The purpose is for a surveillance and at least 3-hour endurance, because purpose should be defined before the design. 10 kg weight, wing span is 3 meter and wing area is 1 meter. So these are the parameters I have listed: area, span, aspect ratio, taper ratio, root chord, mean chord, tip chord for a wing, for a horizontal tail, for a vertical tail. Similarly, we have covered the control surface sizing lecture, and with this we have sized the aileron, elevator and rudder, and what are the factor I have taken, that I have also listed here, like with respect to the wing span, what should be my aileron span. Okay, so like that, and with respect to the wing area, what should be my aileron area. So that factor I have listed 10%, 40%, 25% for a area, span and chord. Similarly for a elevator and rudder, that can be sized based on horizontal tail area and vertical tail area, horizontal span, horizontal chord and vertical tail chord. So now in upcoming slides we will see the detailing of this UAV, what so far we have designed, its performance overall. Okay, so now the VH is 0.64 for our unmanned aircraft case, and VV is 0.03. This is vertical horizontal tail volume ratio, this is vertical tail volume ratio, and this is a CG position, and all the position is measured from the wing leading edge. Okay, so the reference is wing leading edge. Okay, the neutral point position we have also covered, the how to find out the neutral point. Okay, the expression is given in the lecture which we have covered in the flight stability and control part. And horizontal tail, we have horizontal tail location, that is also we have found out, it is approximately 1.1. See this horizontal, this is nothing but the tail arm, which is the distance between the CG and aerodynamic center of the tail. And now if you move, I have considered that the vertical AC location from the CG will be 10% less than this value. Okay, because if you move vertical tail little ahead, your directional stability and roll stability characteristics will improve. Okay, spiral will improve. These things will cover in the next course. Okay, now this is the aerodynamics construction. So it is very important to know that aerodynamic model of our aircraft. For example, like when the aircraft will fly, their external force will be aerodynamic, so you have to construct the aerodynamic model, and this is the aerodynamic model, and reference we have given to you in the course introduction lecture, which is NASA report. So from this you can find out what is our CL naught, CD naught, CM naught, CL alpha, CM alpha, CLQ, CMQ, CL delta E, CM delta E. Similarly for a lateral and directional case. And this stability and control derivative has a very significance. This will tell you how your aircraft will behave. For example, like if the CM alpha is very high, that means it is very stable, and CM alpha is low, then it is less stable, and if CM alpha is positive, so it is unstable case. Okay, similarly the C and beta, that also we have covered, that shows the static stability in a directional case, and similarly CL beta in a load case. So you can see that the here is L angle of attack is listed, but when you go for the lateral and directional case, you will replace the angle of attack by the beta. So this is the significance of the stability and control derivative. So we can see that there is a static derivative, CM alpha, CL beta, CN beta, and another is a damping derivative. Damping derivative will decide how much time it will take to damp your aircraft. For example, if the CMQ value is high, then it will take less time to damp. Okay, that comes under the dynamic stability And similarly, there is some kind of coupling derivative you have involved, CL delta R. So that means one kind of motion will introduce, then other motion will automatically induce. For example, if you roll, then yeah will happen. Okay. So these are coupling derivative, and these are the very weak derivative, but plays the very significant important role while designing the control system. And these derivative are very dangerous if you, and is very difficult to capture also. And similarly, once you size the control surfaces, you have a control derivative. This will tell you the aileron control power. And similarly, the CM delta is in a longitudinal case. If CM delta is value is very high, that means elevator control power is more. Even if you deflect small elevator, you will get the sufficient movement. Similarly, for the lateral case, we have a CL delta A. That's also I have derived, and CN delta that also have derived in the flight stability and control power lecture. So this is the rudder control power, this is a aileron control power, this is a elevator control power. And we know that when some kind of motion will introduce, other kind of motion will automatically introduce. For example, a aircraft has a plane of symmetry about the y-axis. That means longitudinal motion, you can say it is decoupled from the lateral and directional, but lateral and directional are the couple. So that is why you see that the CN delta A, CN delta A, when you deflect the aileron, yeah will happen. Okay. And similarly, you can see that CL delta R, when you deflect rudder, the roll will happen. But these derivatives are very small, because one motion is a dominant and other motion is due to the dominant motion, the other motion is happening, which is the coupling. Okay. Aerodynamic model we have found out. Similarly, for a second class, which is manned aircraft case. So in manned aircraft case, the mass is 1238 kg, and like we have sized the unmanned aircraft, the parameter is listed here for a wing, horizontal tail, vertical tail, and aileron, elevator, rudder, and the factor is also given for the control surface sizing. So I think this part already at the beginning of the course we have covered, for example, weight estimation, but the unmanned aircraft was not sized, because from the beginning we are taking the example of the manned aircraft. So now in this case we have already seen that the vertical tail horizontal tail volume ratio 0.7, vertical tail volume ratio 0.031, CG location is 0.68, neutral point location is 0.89, horizontal tail number is 4.8, and vertical tail number is 4.3. So this is also measured from the leading edge. So whatever so far we are designing, the distance we are measuring from the wing leading edge. Dear students, we have constructed the aerodynamic model for a unmanned case. Now we have constructed the aerodynamic model in a manned aircraft case, and which is very important to construct the flight simulation model, because ultimately this will tell you how your aircraft behave when it will move from the to go in atmosphere. For example, like if you write Newton's second law, F equal to me, then F is the external force, that includes the aerodynamic force, propulsion force, gravitational force. So in aerodynamic force, these the things are required. Now I will show you the performance of our aircraft. So first aircraft, which is UAV, the purpose is surveillance, and endurance is about at least 3 hours we have to get the endurance. So this is the typical 2D diagram, where you can see that how my aircraft will look like for example in 2D case, what will be the how the vertical tail, horizontal tail, and will look like compared to the wing. Okay, that will sort of, you have a very good idea when you go to the actual CAD design. Okay, now it is important to know that what sort of Reynolds number we are flying, because Reynolds number is the inertia force by viscous force, and that will tell you whether your aerodynamics is making sense or not. So you can see that it is around 2 to the 10 to the power 6 at a velocity around stall and cruise velocity, and when you go to maximum velocity 30, it is going in the 5 into 10 to the power 6 range, and it is plotted at a different flight altitude starting from the 0 to 5 kilometer, because aircraft will not fly at a constant route, it should be flyable at a different flight altitude. Okay, so as an example we have considered 0 to 5 kilometer. Now, what was our requirement? Our requirement was at least 3 hour endurance at a sea level. So now you can see that at a cruise speed, which is the stall speed is around the cruise speed is around 14 meter per second, you can see, and stall speed less than 30% of this velocity, you can see that 14 meter per second we are getting 3.6 hour endurance. And if you multiply, if you use speed equal distance upon time, and if you multiply by the speed 14 into whatever so far endurance we are getting, you will get the range. Okay, so now the purpose is fulfilled, but we have to not limit this. We have to go for the whether we have to check other performance parameter also. So now you can see that what is the aerodynamic drag is required, aerodynamic power is required, aerodynamic efficiency is there required, and drag coefficient is required. You can see at a velocity, at a design speed, the aerodynamic drag is coming 9.5 and power is 130 watts. So based on 130 watt or little higher than that, we have to select the engine. Okay, for example, this power, okay, 133 watt is there, so we can double the power and we can select the engine. Okay. And now we can see that here at early class we have taken the L by D 10, right? So now here L by D is 2.1.27. It is making sense, right? Why I have taken the L by D is 10. Now you can see the what is the elevator deflection is required at a trim. It is -4, but this can be changed. Here in this design we have considered the zero tail setting angle. But if you give -2, I have checked in the I have checked if you give -2, the at a design speed it will become the 0. So for example, let's say my aim is to fly at a high speed also. So in that case, at a 30 meter per second, you are getting elevator deflection. So this can be changed based on the tail elevator setting, because at a trim speed, say for example, if I want to fly at a maximum speed, so my trim drag should be 0. That is why I am making 0 deflection at a maximum speed. But if you want to fly at a most 14 meter per second at a, that means if you want to fly at a design speed most of the time, then you can give some elevator setting angle and change the tail mount in order to make the 0 deflection at a design speed. Okay, in order to eliminate the trim drag coming from the directly from the elevator. And now gentlemen, you can see that this is the angle of attack plot with respect to the velocity. So we are flying at a 5.8 second, which is making sense and reasonable, because if your angle of attack is, for example, say 13 degree, 14 degree, so now you have enough margin, whether if the gust and all if it will come, then you have enough margin to save your aircraft. And also that also we have seen in the VN diagram when we cover the basics of structure. Okay. Now you can see some sort of drag coefficient. You can see with respect to the velocity, it is coming 0.07. So with a very conservative, as a designer, you have to be very conservative. For that reason only, we have considered the 0.05. And actually, when you estimate this thing, this can come at 0.02 also, 0.03 also. So it is better to go to the conservative side. Okay. Now what sort of lift coefficient you are flying? You can see this at a point 8 we are flying. So and with respect to the velocity, you can see that how the CL is dropping. That also we have covered in the aircraft performance part. And now since our UAV has to fly and many aircraft to fly at a different altitude, so depending upon the requirement, you can plot the performance parameter at a different altitude. So for example, I have considered the initial altitude as a 0 kilometer, that means mean sea level, and final altitude is 5 kilometer. So at a regular interval of 1 kilometer, I have plotted the performance parameter. You can see change. And also one thing I have said that these points remain the same. So you can say the maxima remains the same. Okay, whatever your speed, you will fly. That is also mathematically we have proven. So this is a trim deflection at a different altitude, angle of attack, CL, CD, each things you can explain. If you are not, if you have any doubt, then you can contact me. And this is the endurance plot at a different altitude. So this all about the unmanned aircraft. Some more explanation, if I am not giving in that on UAV part, then I will give in the next couple of slides. Okay, in the manned case. But before that, we have to not forget how the bending moment and shear force will look like, because that also we have covered in the basics of structures part. You can see the bending moment at root it's maximum and at the tip is 0, and the shear force what I told, right? At a root it will be maximum and at the tip will be 0. So now you can see that at my design speed I am not giving the any elevator deflection. So that means my trim drag is 0. A trim drag can be 1%, 2%, 3% of the total drag. So that means in this condition you are minimizing the drag, and that means the power will be little less, 1%, 2% compared to the total power. and overall you will save the fuel. And this is similarly lift coefficient, drag coefficient, angle of attack, elevator. Okay. So now you can have a feel for that. When you fly at a higher speed, you have to reduce the angle of attack, right? So that means elevator have to put down, right? That is why an elevator down is what? Positive. So that is why you are going toward the positive sides when you are flying the speed. You are flying at aircraft at a very high speed, but as when you are flying at a low speed, your elevator deflection is up. You have to rotate the aircraft up, increase the angle of attack, and up elevator is considered to be a negative. So that is why you are going the negative side. Perfect, right? So now you can see that I am able to get approximately 4,000 kilometer range, and you can imagine that if you are taking off from Kashmir or taking off from Kanyakumari and going to Kashmir, it is roughly around 3,500. So your aircraft will continuously fly 32 hours, more than a day if you are flying at the 37 meter per second. And if you are going from the commercial, hardly it will take 3 hours. Okay. So it is better here we can say that it is better for a general aviation aircraft. Is for a short range, it is good. Okay. So that kind of feel I want to give you as a designer. Same here. So you can see that more than 14,000 Newton meter, because it is a bigger aircraft. Similarly for the shear force case, and also for the surface plot, you can see that bending moment maximum is here. So it's a very important point you have to look at into it. And similarly the Aviation diagram, since this also you can see that this is the heavier aircraft, wing loading is more, so less sensitive to the wind. So I have given the 10 meter per second gust, and still it is the within the flight envelope. So that means when the wing loading is low, aircraft is very sensitive to the gust, and wing load is high, is less sensitive to the gust. That sort of feel I wanted to give you. So our aircraft which we have designed so far is 1238 weight class. That is roughly belonging to that in terms of weight. If I talk, it's Cessna 172 SP. So Cessna 172 SP is using Lycoming 050 engine which can produce 260 kilowatt. So with this we can have a idea what type of engine we should select for our aircraft, because that is already proven engine, successfully installed, and aircraft is successfully flown. So that we can go with that engine, because ultimately in cruise what power we are required, around 40 kilowatt. So in this case it is 260 kilowatt. It is providing much enough to cruise and fair enough to climb. So this is all about the construction of flight simulation model. So now we have a complete model with us. So in next class we will demonstrate the flight simulation, where I will take all the parameter aircraft states in one axis, which is y axis, and I will take x axis as a time, because I want to check my behavior. I want to check our designed aircraft behavior with respect to the time, how it is going, how it is behaving. Okay, so that we will discuss in the next class. So next class will be all about the flight simulation, and so we'll meet in the next class. Thank you so much.